RPG Fan is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, welcome to episode 172 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG Fan Music Podcast. I'm hosting today. I'm Hilary Andreff, and joining me today during this winter festive season are my excellent panelists. So I will introduce them now. Audra.
Hi-ho.
And Matt.
Reading Rainbow.
Excellent. And Rob.
Hello.
Good to see you all today. So we got a nice little clue there. We are talking books today, and there's nothing I like more than music and books, so very excited. We have prepared for you some music to go along with reading in some various ways that we'll talk about as a celebration of an Icelandic tradition called Jólabókaflóðið. So we'll get into that more in a minute, but let's introduce it by talking books a little bit. We're going to go around and share either something we're reading now or a favorite book. So is there anyone that would like to go first?
I'd like to recommend, I haven't read him recently, but he's one of my favorite Canadian authors. His name is Alexis. I don't know if anyone has read him here, but his most famous book in Canada was 15 Dogs, which is about two Greek gods, I think it's Hermes and Apollo, if I'm not mistaken, who have a bet that intelligence is what leads to sadness. And so they bestow human intelligence on 15 dogs in a pound, and the dogs, awaken to human intelligence. And then the bet is like, will these dogs live a happy life or will they succumb to sadness? It's a really beautiful, sad, amazing book. So yeah, Alexis, 15 Dogs.
Wow, that sounds fascinating.
I've never heard of that before. It sounds, sounds cool.
He has like a series called like the Quincunx Quintet, which is like a really pretentious title, but it's 5 books that are like loosely speculative fiction, kind of like magical realism, and that's one of them. And they cross over in interesting ways, but like you can enjoy them all separately, and all of them are just fantastic, if you ask me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm doing something at the moment which I usually really don't like doing and try and avoid doing, which is reading more than one book at the same time.
Oh no.
I know. So the 3 that I'm kind of flitting between is the first one is The Rosefield by Philip Pullman, which is the final book. So it released, I think, in October, of the Book of Dust trilogy, which is a sequel to the original His Dark Materials trilogy. And that is really good. I'm about halfway through that. I'm also reading The Silmarillion by Tolkien for the first time.
Oh my god.
And I'm loving it, but that's one where I'm having to like read a bit and then have a bit of a break and then do something else and then come back. But I am really enjoying that. I finished for the first time The Return of the King over summer, and I don't even really know how to describe it. I just thought it was incredible. Some of the world building and the depth that he goes into about like the characters and the world generally, I thought was insane. So I was like, I need more of this. So that's why I'm reading that.
Well, there you go.
And then the third book is a non-fiction book that I got a couple of weeks ago about black holes and the universe by 2 physicists. And I just love reading stuff about like space and crazy stuff like that. So yeah, that's me.
Amazing, thanks. I'm trying to reconcile in my head right now reading Pullman and Tolkien at the same time. Some pretty different ideas, but I enjoyed both Lord of the Rings and his Dark Materials a lot.
Mhm.
So that sounds like a really interesting reading experience. I love it.
Yeah, the Legend of Exorcism series, which is a historical fantasy martial arts epic kind of thing with some
Ooh.
supernatural elements and romance, and it's a really good series. I'd recommend it if any of those things check off boxes for you.
They all
Sounds
do.
like Yeah, it sounds like it's got a little of everything.
Yeah.
When you say martial arts, are we talking like Chinese, like high wire flying, or like what kind of martial arts
Kind
do you
of
mean?
Chinese, like the cultivation stuff too.
Oh,
Supernatural.
that's very cool. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
Yes.
get that later. Yeah.
Interesting. So not like nitty-gritty naginata practice training for
Oh,
hours.
no.
Ip
No,
Man.
more kind of fantasy.
Cool. Hilary, what are you reading lately?
Yeah. My most recent read is a nonfiction book. So I have this thing where I try to cycle. I have a classic, I have nonfiction, and then I have more kind of like genre fiction. And then I revisit a favorite and I kind of try to cycle through that way. So I'm on nonfiction right now. And I am reading Shakespeare's Tremor and Orwell's Cough, which is a doctor who kind of got into Shakespeare and other famous authors, and based on like information that we have about those authors, kind of talks about their medical lives and like what diagnoses they might have had, and you know how those things are treated then and now. And each chapter is a different author, so it's full of really, really interesting tidbits if you're interested in either famous authors or just kind of like the history of medicine or like the diagnostic process, actually, because you know it's kind of like a fun thought experiment, like, oh, okay, we know this about these authors, so this could mean this or that, or this rules out, you know, a problem with the liver, or like just very interesting insight.
That's
I'm on
That's
fascinating.
the-
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd
I'm-
be into that actually.
Me too.
I'm on the chapter about Jonathan Swift and dementia right now.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, I gotta get this book.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I mean, most like authors die like before they hit 40 or 50, right? So that sounds like, you know, very ripe for you know, material.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, well, thank you for going through that with me. I think that sets the tone pretty well, and listeners, that will kind of give you an idea of what we like to read and what we're reading currently as we start to pair books and music. So before that, let's give a little bit of context before we start our pairings about Jólabókaflóðið and why we're pairing these books, why books and music together now. So Jólabókaflóðið is an Icelandic tradition. It translates roughly to like the Yule Book Flood, and it started during World War II, after Iceland had gained its independence from Denmark in 1944, because paper was one of the few things that wasn't rationed at the time. So it was an effort to keep holiday traditions going and use resources that were more available. So there was a sharp increase in giving books as presents. And Iceland also has a little bit of a culture of enjoying books. So it kind of became a tradition every year to give books as gifts. There's a catalog that goes around even. You open the books on December 24th, and everyone reads the books right away. And you have hot chocolate, or there's a special alcohol-free Christmas ale, and you hang out, have a nice drink, and read your books immediately.
I love this idea, although I have to say that I'm not the kind of person that has ever sat down and like plowed through an entire book in one day. Like a lot of people talk about like Harry Potter that way. I'm a slow reader, but like I love just like the relaxation of reading. But I love this tradition, and I'm looking forward to trying it this coming week with my wife.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah,
It
I
sounds
usually-
such like a cozy. Yeah.
I usually end up buying books for just Christmas in general, so this is kind of right up my alley.
Yeah,
Except
there you go.
I don't think I can read one book in one day if it's like a multi-chapter book. But
Right. I feel like this is a little easier, maybe if you're younger.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can foresee myself falling asleep at 11 p.m. with my hot chocolate all over my face. But
Oh, no. Mike and I have tried it like for the past couple of years, and I think one of the most fun kind of twists we've done on it is like introducing each other to like favorite books. So we'll just like read a chapter or something to each other from a favorite book.
Neat variation.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cute.
More people need to read aloud to each other. Like we stopped doing that as kids, but it's like it's such a nice thing to do. Like adults reading to each other.
Yeah, I always try and do that with my partner. I'm always like, I'm going to read out. I'm going to read a bit of this book out to you. And he's like, shut up.
And you're going to enjoy it.
It's like, I don't want to hear it right now. I'm like, yeah, but I want to read to you. So
I'm going to read about Morgoth, and you're going to enjoy it.
Yes. Look, you need to know about the celestial chorus.
exactly. Yes.
I love that. The danger with me is I love listening to stories to fall asleep. So, yeah, I guess that's one danger there. But, want to introduce everybody to this really fun tradition, get a little bit festive here on Rhythm Encounter. So if everybody's ready, I think we can move along into our book and music pairings. And before we do that, I'll just explain really quickly that we kind of have a broad concept of this. Some people thought a little bit more about authors. Some people thought a little bit more about genres. I'm not sure if we got any specific books. We might have, but it's going to be a little bit of a mix, which is great because there are lots of different ways to pair books and music.
One ground rule is we can all do a Swedish Chef impression only one time this episode.
Yes.
I think that's fair.
Oh, where's Solosi? He's good with impressions. All right. So I believe I have our first pick here today. So I will go ahead and introduce it, and then we'll go listen to it. My first choice is Before the Fall by Lawrence Chapman, and that is from the Heaven's Vault original soundtrack. So that was Before the Fall, a lovely little piano and string piece. So I knew pretty quickly that I wanted to try to find something from Heaven's Vault to bring to this episode, because not only is Heaven's Vault an Inkle game, where Inkle is a studio that is very, very, very narrative driven. So they come up with all sorts of like really interesting gameplay concepts based around different ways to tell stories. One of their first really popular games was 80 Days, which was basically like a video game presentation and an expansion on Around the World in 80 Days. Classic book. So I will spotlight them where I can. But I also, when I got to looking, this track was, I thought, absolutely fantastic. It's expansive, it's got some movement, but it's not too distracting. And I was absolutely picturing it, especially with the instrumentation. You know, you've got the lovely piano and strings. I was definitely picturing like sweeping fields, a very pretty pastoral environment. So I think my pairing was something classic, probably like a Jane Austen.
Yeah, I had the same thought.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've read a lot of Jane Austen lately, and I was like, yeah, I could see that in one of the films. Just picture it. Yeah, and I think it's got a good momentum. You know, there's enough variation, but especially with the piano, it can carry you through if you're stuck a little bit or slowing down or your eyes are getting a little tired. And it's also just very classy, which I think is nice for Jólabókaflóðið.
I also get like the kind of elegance that you talk about, like the Jane Austen feeling. I had the same thought. But it's funny that you bring up Jules Verne, because yeah, to me it does feel like a very like cozy adventure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're soaring through the sky, but like not at a, you know, you're not screaming through the sky, you know.
Actually,
and you've got like, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, are you in the game or?
This plays, if I'm not mistaken, you have an elegant little like, there are currents in the sky, and there's a very beautiful like sky environment, and you are boating in a little elegant, sleek little boat through the currents in the sky.
How elegant!
Yes.
Yeah. No, that sounds perfect. Like that's exactly what I thought of. But yeah, so kind of like Jules Verne. And we had talked about this on a previous episode, Hilary. But I had just read Piranesi by Susanna Clarke.
Ooh.
And that kind of like playful adventure or exploration in that book too. Like he's just kind of going about his day, exploring the halls of the house, as he calls it. I kind of got that vibe from this song as well.
I would absolutely read Piranesi while listening to this. That's a really good like character, kind of musical character description for him, because you've got the movement and exploration, but also kind of that like hope and optimism.
Yeah, the conversation happening between like the violin and the cello in this song too, kind of, it's like the echo, or like the, you know, you're searching for something and you're hoping for a response, like whether it's another person or like the clues to this language that they're searching for in the game.
Yeah,
I love that.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that is the other little tidbit why I picked this. Heaven's Vault is all about unlocking the secrets of the past by translating languages. So it is very like word based. Yeah, and Piranesi is definitely a book recommendation for me.
Yeah. To quote Reading Rainbow again, he says, "A book lets you zoom through time and space, but don't bother packing. You can stay in one place."
That sums up this song perfectly.
I can so see the Jules Verne and
Yes.
And definitely I was actually thinking like maybe even Little Prince.
Oh my
some
gosh,
aspect.
yeah.
So I mean I love this track, and I could so picture just reading along with it. I mean it's really fitting for a lot of different songs and genres, and it's
Little
great.
Prince is a good call. Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved this one too. This was the first of the tracks that we've got on the episode that I listened to, and straight away, like if there are strings like this in a song, I will love it. Because they're just so like they're just really like stunning, really. Very elegant, yes, absolutely. I actually got maybe a slightly different feel from this. I have not played this game, and I didn't really know much about it, so I had a little look on YouTube at some gameplay, but I don't know very much about the story. And just from the sound of this track, I was getting a bit of kind of mournful feel from it, almost like a kind of longing for like a time that has passed, or for like like memories of something that you don't have anymore, and you're like missing something, or I was definitely getting that kind of feel from this. But the song is really beautiful. I love like halfway through when it kind of lets the piano take the lead a bit more, and it's very like gentle kind of switch up, which is really nice.
And there's such a nice like conversation between the instruments in this, which is always something I look for when that's like one of my top criteria for wanting to bring a song on rhythm, I think.
It goes well. It would go nicely with a game like Journey, or like what's like the recent one with Awesome Wintory, like Sword of the Sea, I think. Those all have like a similar vibe, I think, of like reigniting the past, or like piecing together like the mysteries of the past in a way.
Yeah, and that's great that you got that, Rob, from this, because that is the undertone. Like, it is an exciting adventure, but there's a lot that was lost too. Great, glad you all enjoyed that one. If we're ready, Audra, would you like to introduce our next pick?
Our next pick is Last Silhouette by Masafumi Takada from Digimon Story Time Stranger. But I was actually thinking more kind of broader, just in general, like scenes from books where characters are like maybe together and reminiscing or being introspective. There's like a very hauntingly beautiful quality to the instrumentation here, but then there's also like a very wistful. So there's like a sense of like longing and hope, but then also like kind of maybe some sadness and regret too. I just feel like it would work for really any book scenes where characters are just either together or by themselves and just like thinking, reflecting, and quietly mulling over stuff. And
In that way, like, you made me think of like Haruki Murakami, like Norwegian Wood or something along those lines of like, you know, introspective and
yes.
Yeah, like there's some mystery of like what happened, you know.
I definitely got the same. Yeah. When I was listening to this, I was like, this feels like some a track that would fit into kind of like, not necessarily for like the big moments, but for the like spaces in between where the characters are like maybe traveling somewhere, or like having conversations, or just something a bit kind of gentler but still important.
Yeah, or reflecting on, you know, between like big bouts of action, reflecting.
It's frozen in time in a way too. I mean, like, it has this kind of like ticking clock quality that I really like, and like the kind of odd time signature. Like, I don't know if it's like beats of 3 going on, but like I quite like that. Like, it's kind of off kilter in a relaxing way where it's like, no, like, you don't have to rush through this kind of beat. Like, let's just tick along and think about whatever's going on.
It's kind of inviting you to take that time and change the pace a little bit.
Yes, it's like a reprieve almost.
In my notes, I think I almost could picture it as a like, my book ended, but I need a minute to savor it and process it.
Nice.
Yes, I can
kind
see
of
that
track.
too.
Yeah.
Or like, you finish a really great chapter and you're like holding your finger in the book and you're like, like, am I ready to dive back in? Or has anyone read, it came out I think a year or 2 ago, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig?
Yep.
It made me think of that a lot.
Yeah, it has this kind of liminal space sort of quality. That is the other phrase I was going to use. Yes.
Yeah, right. Of like again, like what could have been, right? Like, she's literally like perusing like the branches that her life could have gone down, and like, you know, pulling that book off the shelf and trying that on. It made me think of that book specifically.
Yes, 100%.
I haven't read that. That's on my list of like ones that I really want to read. Not that I need any more books to read right now, but yeah.
It's a good one. It was actually a book club book for my work, which is how I read it. That's so something I'm learning today is, Matt, you and I have read many of the same books.
Yeah. So this book, like, I'm actually like the librarian at the school that I work at, and I'm like the co-librarian, and we got this book because you know, we were fans of it. We got it for the junior high school shelf, and one student comes up to me and they go, "Matt, what's this?" And they opened the chapter where she's being chased by a polar bear, and it's just one whole page of F like the F word repeated, and I was like, I might rip that page out. Let's talk about that one. But fun book.
Definitely.
Digimon's story Time Stranger, like, there's time travel involved in this game, I'm assuming?
A lot of it.
Okay, because it was a little bit like Chrono Trigger feeling to me as well, but
yes, there is some elements where I'd say it almost kind of similar to Chrono Trigger, maybe even like Chrono Cross, with like some time travel and then also like dimension hopping.
Oh, okay.
Stuff, yeah. Throughout the game.
Definitely shades of Chrono and a little touch of Trigger, a little touch of Cross.
Yeah, I like it, and it's interesting how you can kind of guess that from the song. Like, I do think, at least in a lot of game soundtracks, they do use like certain musical cues to kind of indicate that like space between, or like that liminal space that kind of might indicate hopping dimensions or time traveling, something like that.
It makes me wonder if that's just something like innate that we think of, or if it's just like trained through years of like association. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, we like this has come up a lot. Like even in this episode, especially, of just like we're all kind of picturing the same thing, you know. But just like reading a book, connection to the books, you know, you all visualize it differently in your head, which is the joy of reading, you know.
Yeah.
And then you watch the movie version and you're like, what? They don't look like that.
The book was better. No.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
One of these days, I will tell you about my longtime friend in Colorado and I going to see the first Percy Jackson movie.
Oh. I can imagine.
It was a fun time. Well, that was a great introspective track, but if we're ready, I think we can move on to a slightly different style. Rob, would you like to introduce your next track?
Sure. So this is Adventure of the Would-Be Hero by Oliver Good, and this is from Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. Okay, so so I wanted to bring. I knew I wanted to bring a track from this game. This is the first of, I believe, 3 Voice of Cards games. I've only actually played the first one, but the soundtrack, which is quite short. I think it's only like 14 or 15 tracks. Is really great, and it's one that I revisit quite often, especially when I'm reading. It took me a while to like narrow it down to which one I wanted to bring, but I went for this one because I don't know, I find it quite an interesting track partly because this is actually a battle theme, and I feel like it doesn't really sound like it should be, but
I love that.
It is the main battle theme from the game. To me, this is giving like a tavern sound, maybe. But yeah, I like that it's quite unexpected. So yeah, I wanted to bring it for that reason. Also, I think I like the light-hearted energy to this, and I had a feeling that maybe a lot of the tracks that we would be having on this episode might be more like atmospheric or I don't know, orchestral potentially. So I wanted to bring something maybe with a slightly different energy to that. I love the energy of it. I love the hand clapping rhythm that kind of goes throughout the whole song. Yeah. It gives it a really nice danceability, and you could totally imagine it being played in some like fantasy tavern and everyone just having like a jolly time. But I think that rhythm also does give it the like energy that it kind of needs to also work as a battle theme. It gives it that like slight sense of urgency, which is really cool. But yeah, I would totally listen to this when reading like Tolkien or something like The Wheel of Time. I also love reading this. So one of my absolute favourite fantasy authors is an Australian writer called Ian Irvine, and he has a cycle of books called the Three Worlds Cycle, and within that there's 3 quartets and a trilogy, and although they're all separate, they're all also linked with each other. And especially the second quartet, like the cliffhanger at the end of the last book of that is the most unreal. Like, I remember when I read it the first time, I was like, I can't believe this. I was like, I can't believe this is the end. And then I had to wait like 3 years for the first book of the next trilogy. It's so good. So yeah, if you're into like fantasy, but maybe like this is slightly more modern fantasy. Like the oldest book was written towards the end of the 90s. So in comparison to The Wheel of Time and Tolkien, this is more modern. But yeah, if you're into like fantasy, I fully recommend his books. They're really, really good. But yeah, this music definitely would fit with that kind of book, I think. Yeah.
It's interesting that you said Tolkien, because the first thing I thought of was Tom Bombadil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good pull, Audra. The unsung hero.
Yep. Yeah. You could absolutely see him like dancing around. Yep. I love that. And I think part of what gives this kind of like that richness that would be really, really good for like Tolkien or like a high fantasy read is it does have that nice kind of like tavern, we're going on an adventure kind of sound, but the instrumentation, I noticed a pretty high proportion of like lower voices, so like cello and I think some lower woodwinds in there, which just like, I love that. It just makes it feel deep and kind of grounds it in a nice way.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it could easily lead to like a bar fight. Like I can imagine a stool crashing over the back of my head. But also like I was also like, I wrote down like some lighthearted fantasy, like The Hobbit especially, and like Terry Pratchett books, like the Discworld books.
That would be so cute.
Yeah, but I was thinking too, like listening to it here and now again, like I can picture myself sitting in, like when I hear the song, I imagine myself sitting in that tavern reading a book, and like I keep getting distracted and looking over at the stage where like the solos are going on, like the guitar takes over, the flute takes over. Like it really puts you in that time and place, like in a weird like framed narrative way, I guess. But really fun. Very did I say this already? Very jaunty. I wrote down jaunty many times.
It's like a Legends and Lattes feel.
I would absolutely listen to this while reading Legends and Lattes. That is a good suggestion. Or I think the third book, Bring in Some Bread Knives, just came out. Yes. I think this might be, I just finished it actually. I think this would be good for that one, because it's a little bit, it's less at the cafe, so it's like a little bit more travel, a little more action.
it's not a book per se, but the manga series Dungeon Meshi, which is, I think it's called like Delicious Dungeon or something in English.
Oh, Delicious in
yeah.
Dungeon. I
Delicious in
think.
Dungeon.
Mhm.
Yeah, that has a very like lighthearted, like yeah, this fits that vibe very, very well, I think. By the way, I was looking up this composer, by the way, because he's quite young, right?
Mhm.
Oliver Good, and I'm like, man, this guy has like worked on so many great series, like known for music. Like he worked
Stellar
on
Blade.
Nier, Stellar Blade, Nier,
Yeah.
Katamari,
Yeah.
the new Katamari. I'm like, holy
Mhm.
cow, this guy is like doing the rounds.
So the soundtrack for this game was not just done by him. He's part of Monaka, which is Keiichi Okabe's studio.
Yeah,
And the tracks were split between Keiichi Okabe, Oliver Good, and Shotaro Seo, and they all three of them work often together on like Nier and yeah. Stellar Blade is the other big one for sure.
I was going to say he's one of the newer Monaka members, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
he's doing great so far. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I reviewed the third voice of the Cards game, and I love the soundtrack for it, and he composed a lot of the tracks for that too.
I really need to play the other two. I absolutely loved the first one, and it's so good for playing at this time of year as well, because it's such a like everything about it is so cozy. It's perfect for like a winter evening with like the Christmas lights on, when you're like warm inside and it's cold outside, and you're playing a game it just plays like a tabletop card RPG.
Yes.
It's so it's so good. Perfect for like a Christmas short. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great to bring up for this. It does kind of have that sort of like warm winter kind of feel to it. And one remaining thing that I have in my notes for this one is definitely like tabletop D&D. Not exactly reading, but I could absolutely see that with this song.
Yeah.
You could read some like R.A. Salvatore books or something along to it.
There you go. You can put it on while you're reading the manuals and planning a campaign.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Monster Manual, the song. Yeah, with a hot wine or like some honey mead.
Also, I want some mulled cider now.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed some lighthearted fantasy, because I'm about to bring the mood way down.
Let's do it. It can't. I mean, we're book appreciators. We know that we're gonna have the range here.
So the first track I'm bringing, please excuse me for the pronunciation here, but it's from Pentiment, composed by the group Alchemy, the band Alchemy, and the track is called Sic Arsit Historia Quierces.
Freude
All right, so that was Sic Arsit Historia Quiersis. You are all cursed now with that spell.
Latin, no.
Yeah. So yeah, even though the title we've all agreed is seems to be Latin, the actual lyrics of the song are like an old type of German, which is in accordance to like the setting of the game, which is what, like, I think 16th century Bavaria. I looked up the translation of the lyrics, and it's actually like a lot of Alchemy songs, the band Alchemy that composed this. They take traditional old songs, like dating back as far as like 1,000 years old, and they kind of like reinterpret it and rearrange it. But they often take the lyrics from those songs and try to, incorporate a lot of those, what's the word I'm thinking of, like authentic elements in terms of instrumentation, and infusing them with a few modern elements as well.
Mhm.
But Pentiment is like overall, like compared to the rest of Alchemy's like discography, Pentiment is like really traditional. Like there's not really any modern elements. So this song, sorry, flipping my notebook here. This song is from an original song called Ellen du Hast, which is quite old. I think it's like 500, 600 years old. And it's like a sorrowful poem about a man who lost his wife somehow, and he's like lamenting how they'll never be together, but they might be together in the afterlife. They might be together eventually. It's very sad. And if you've played Pentiment, like you could connect it to like the main character Andreas without spoiling anything. He has like familial troubles, like he doesn't really talk about his family. There might be that connection there. But yeah, what did you guys think about the song in general?
I love all things medieval in general. Those were like the electives that I took in school where I could, like in college. So it was pretty much a joy to actually be able to sit down and listen to something from Pentiment, because I knew that Alchemy had worked on it, and then like they made it in the presentation of the game. They really kind of delved in and like made an effort to present things maybe a little bit updated, but authentically in a lot of cases. So it was really cool to hear that.
An awesome listen. I mean, I thought of Chaucer immediately, was someone that came to mind.
Yeah.
And I love that. So I kind of just naturally, I was like playing the song on repeat a ton.
Is this the point where I link to my blurb pairing up Canterbury Tales and Octopath Traveler?
Oh my
You
god.
can.
That was a long time ago, but that's one of the few like book game pairings that I've written about so far for the site. This music would be good for that.
Yes.
That is a great one. Parts of like when I read the lyrics, it made me think, and the fact that it's in German, it made me think of like Goethe, like the sorrows of young Werther.
Oh my gosh.
But I read a book this year that this song and a lot of the Pentiment soundtrack, which is quite like it only rears its head once in a while, but it's quite like insidious at times and like sinister. Like it has like this really like dark undertone to it. Because it is a murder mystery after all. But the book I read this year, it's called Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman. Imagine like Cormac McCarthy's The Road mixed with like Dark Souls or with like medieval. Like,
oh my god, this sounds so good.
It is, yeah. It's a really great read. I was pretty like impressed by it, and like it is very, very dark at times. Like, but it's like a disgraced knight traveling with like a young girl who he saves, and he's trying to like reclaim his title, and like she has some kind of like weird powers about her, like she might be a witch, she might be something. It's great. It's a great like on the road book, but it's quite dark. So we're talking about dark fantasy. Yeah, it's like get your don't eat any hot wine while you read that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need to look that up because that sounds like my kind of thing. I think.
I can almost see this like with Pillars of the Earth too, if you
Yeah.
kind of like a good fit.
I like that this one was like similar to the previous song, but in terms of mood, is it like the complete opposite end of the spectrum? Which,
Yep.
I thought that was really cool. I love the when like my instrument knowledge is terrible, but the like wind instrument pipe, it sounds like a pipe or something to me that comes in like after the singing finishes. I really love that you can hear when the player of the instrument takes a breath before. It gives such a nice kind of like actual human element to the song. And I think like just that small little thing is one of my favorite things about this. Yeah,
it really frames things and makes you picture, maybe a live performance, or kind of gets the image of like a small group of human musicians, in the moment. Yeah, very human element. Love it.
The band from the previous track like gets off the stage, and then like this like flautist and singer get on the stage, and it's like the lights die down and everything. Yeah, but
they're like, we're gonna bring the mood down now.
Yeah,
slow it down with our next song. Yeah.
In the context of the game, it's used in a really like breathtaking moment, kind of later in the game, which I won't spoil at all. But like, it's very effective when you hear it in game, and like memorable for that reason as well. But yeah, for anybody that likes reading, I mean, Pentiment is like one of the greatest games that you can play.
I need to play this
so
game
well
now.
written. Yeah.
One thing I just quickly want to add is this song absolutely got me thinking of the concept of a pentiment, and just the ways that ideas in books and music both have kind of drawn from each other, built on each other over time, which then made me think we've kind of had a resurgence of like mysteries, books and mysteries specifically that have kind of a medieval twist. I mean, there are several authors that I'm thinking of. Maybe not Da Vinci Code, but like along those lines. And I'm thinking this could work really well for one of that, because it too is like trying to be faithful to the original, but also, out of necessity, updated in some ways.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
Who's up next?
Me.
Oh, this is a really interesting one, Audra.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this one I was like thinking a lot about beforehand.
Oh, thank you. Well, this one's kind of going to a completely different direction. Some awesome song picks before. This is Voices from the Abyss, from which the composers, and I apologize if I butcher their names, is Izumi Wu, Rosette Sen, and Hon Sang-soo, from Xuan-Yuan Sword 7 original soundtrack. Well, what can I say about this track beyond that? I really wanted to bring it on because it's such a amazing, like, I could see it for a kind of epic fantasy battle, especially one with like paranormal settings. Like, as I talked about, like the Legend of Exorcism books, I could totally see this happening in a fight with them between like the demon spirits and everything that are in those books, or the Avatar novels, like the Chronicles of the Avatar book series. Anytime they have like the spirit world merging with this one, yeah,
Right.
like in the Kyoshi and Yangcheng and Roku books, I'm like, yes, this would be absolutely perfect for those kinds of just intense moments and battle scenes. And there's like an epic kind of struggle between dark and like the unknown and danger, and then like there's also like, it's kind of like battling with some of the more hopeful, wistful moments, like especially later on with the late stage vocals coming into play in the instrumentation.
Yeah. And thank you for bringing this on, because I think moments of conflict, you know, if we're talking about reading a good story, like you've got to have those moments of conflict. And I don't think that's something that's been super represented so far in our picks. So I'm really glad we have this.
Yeah.
So definitely good for like fantasy epics and stuff like that.
It's like when you get to like the last like 50 pages of a book and suddenly you're like reading at breakneck speed. Yeah, like it's a good late stage book song. But
it is actually a late stage battle theme. So
okay, yeah, the stakes are high. You can sense that in the song. Now I gotta say, like when you pitched this song to us, Audra, and even your description now as like this kind of fantasy epic, I get such a different vibe from this one. It's like the first time that I'm diverging here. Like it feels so sci-fi to me.
Oh wow,
interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
There's so many like electronic elements to it, right? Like the industrial kind of noises and stuff like that. Like, what was like it? Like to me, like I guess you could like pitch it as like a sci-fi fantasy. Like it would go well to me with Dune. You know?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or speculative.
I think it depends
fiction.
on the kind of fantasy you're thinking, because I wouldn't match this with something like Lord of the Rings, for example, but definitely more of like a modern fantasy, for sure, where you've got like, like you were saying, something maybe that's a bit sort of crossover. This would totally work.
Or maybe like I also thought of like the Mistborn trilogy, like Brandon Sanderson. That one's a bit steampunky, but like they, you know, there's like this kind of heavy emphasis on technology on like the evil side. Like, I got that conflict a lot, you know. But,
I could see it.
Yeah, same. When I first started listening to this, I was like, my initial reaction was, there is no way I could read to this song.
This is the one.
It's so yes, this is the one. I was like, this is like way too intense, and I would find it so distracting. But then the more that I was listening to it, I thought, well, actually no, because I have had moments where I've been reading, and a particular song has been on, and it has not matched the content of the book, and when that happens, I'm always like, no, this isn't right. I need to change it and put something with a bit more energy on or whatever. And I definitely think that there are moments, for sure, in books that I've read where music like this would totally be appropriate. I think it was just, I had to take a minute to like come to terms with that. You know, that was the actuality of the thing. But yeah, I really like this, and I love towards the end when the vocals come in, and it's almost like they become so obscured by all of the other like elements of the song. The like visual that came into my mind was someone trying to sing like amidst like a full-on like battlefield or something, and you're trying to make out this like one point of like purity in this like scene of chaos. It was so
Pippin
like...
and Gondor, maybe.
Yes.
That is a very good analogy.
A little hairy man walking through a battlefield.
Now I gotta go find this person. What am I doing?
It is so cinematic, though. Yeah, like you're right. Like it goes through all these movements, and like whether or not you're reading something, like you can paint a story in your head just by listening to this song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you, Rob. Like I get distracted easily if I'm like listening to music. So like if I turn the volume like way down, I think this is like any track can be like excellent backing music if it's like, you know, audible but not like, you know, intrusive in any way. But this one like definitely like it's hard not to like have it grab your attention just because the vocals and everything.
It is attention grabbing.
Yeah.
For that reason, I was actually thinking comics. I would read some comics because it's easier to take a pause, you know, if if the music does draw your attention away, and it does have that kind of like cinematic action sort of.
A lot of manga and webcomics in particular, I think, would really fit for this.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And it's also nice to get some non-Western instrumentation and things in there too for our book lineup.
Oh, thank you.
There's something to be said about like a lengthy song too. Like I'm not the kind of person that listens to music on repeat, so like I love when I can like settle into the groove, like an ambient or whatever groove of a song for a long time, and like, you know, get at least 7 minutes of in-depth reading done, you know what I mean, before I'm like looking at my playlist again, right?
Yep.
Being like, oh no, I hit shuffle.
Yeah, and now I'm listening to like the Yakuza club music or something again. But
so what I actually do with a lot of the music that I listen to when I'm reading is I make playlists specifically for the book. So, like, I love making playlists anyway, but if I know I'm going to be reading a particular thing, I will spend some time, like, putting together a playlist of usually instrumental music, because the thing that I find most distracting when I'm reading is anything with vocals. So it'll usually be, like, a mix of game music, film soundtrack music, and then just other instrumental tracks from whoever, bands, whatever. And then... like, because I've put them together, I just let them play through. But like long songs are, the best. You don't want something that's only going to last like 2 minutes, because when you're reading, that's like a page. So I like something that's going to really let me like visualize everything with like the music and then the content from the book, and really like get absorbed into it. Yeah.
I think more people need to do that. Like I do that as well, Rob. Like people need to share their playlists. I think that'd be such a fun trend of like, hey, read this book and listen to my playlist on Spotify or whatever it might be.
Add that to the Jólabókaflóðið agenda.
Yeah.
You can try playlists too.
I bought you this book and listen to this music that I picked for you. That's so sweet, you know. And this is like the hot chocolate break song that you can listen to in the middle.
Yes. Oh, love it. All right, are we ready to move on to our next track?
Yep.
I think so.
So the next track is my other one, and it is The Insulating Miracle by Sea Power from Disco Elysium. So let's talk about games with a lot of reading in them. That's Disco Elysium right there. Fantastic story, dialogue options, but so much reading. So I kind of knew and I wasn't the only one who thought about that one when thinking about this episode. So I picked this track in particular because I thought there's tension to it, but it's kind of like an existential feeling kind of tension. It's a little dramatic, but not so dramatic that it'll distract you. And it's another one of the tracks I think in our selections that gives you a little bit of a sense of like a scale, just kind of like the expansiveness of the world, or maybe a place out of time. But it could also be a good track for like a thriller or something with, a slow build of tension. And I'll say like the particular kind of pairing I thought for it. So in Disco Elysium, this song is associated with a person, probably an early person you talk to in the game, where you don't know who you are. And you actually ask this person like to help you with your identity. And so I thought, okay, what is humanity? What is identity? These are really good sci-fi questions. And musically, the song also sounds like it could be really good for especially certain types of sci-fi. Maybe kind of like technology heavy, not super action oriented, but speculative kind of sci-fi.
It fits with like Alien or like Metroid Prime or something like that. Like,
yes.
Yeah, the lonely kind of isolation of space.
Right, the lonely kind of isolation. What is it? What do these, questions about like alien cultures or space, what do these say about us as individuals and humans? Yeah, those kind of big questions.
Yeah, it definitely is more something that I would associate more with a book that's quite like cerebral and is trying to tackle some quite like heavy questions rather than like an action epic. It feels more kind of deep to me, something like this.
Yeah, I could see like Isaac Asimov or or Ursula K. Le Guin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did think a little bit of Ursula K. Le Guin.
Yes.
This one, I mean, like the fact I get this vibe from Disco Elysium as a game as well, but like I connect these two things together. But the way of having a police procedural, but like the real mystery of it is also like the world building happening around it. So like, you're uncovering the mystery itself, the murder or whatever it might be, but you're also like uncovering the lore. And it reminded me of the book. Has anyone read The City and the City by China Miéville? I think that's how you pronounce his name.
No, but I want to.
I haven't, but I've heard a lot about it. But
it is incredible, and I think it's really like politically appropriate in times like these, where it's like this city and a city that are on top of each other or like interwoven together. So if you're a citizen of one city, you are trained from birth to like phase out and just ignore aspects of the other city, even like if they're all like touching each other and like walking the same streets. So people like wearing a certain type of fashion of belonging to the other city, you like ignore them as if they don't exist, right?
Whoa.
And so a murder happens.
Parallel.
Yeah.
Oh.
A murder happens, and like it's like two unlikely partners from each city like come together, and they have to solve. And it is such a cool like cerebral thing of like, oh, like this we have to go to the other city. We have to go through the gate or like get our visa stamped, and it's like, no, it's right there. And like they start like it's like do we break the rules and like untrain ourselves from like decades of ignoring each other's culture. Like it's really a great book.
That sounds like it has to be a book game pairing with Disco Elysium at some point. Please write that out.
It would be a great article. Yeah, I think like they have such similar vibes, I think. But great book, The City and the City.
I think you need to do like voiceovers for film trailers or something like that.
One city, another city, one cop.
Do they break the rules?
Banana. But has anyone I have not read this, and I won't say that I've acquired it by any means, but there is a Disco Elysium novel written by Robert Kurvitz, but it's limited to Estonian, which I don't speak Estonian. But there are fan translations out there. It's called A Sacred and Terrible Air from 2013.
I just recently learned about the existence of that book, actually, because I was looking into like the context of this song and things like that, and I don't know much about it, but I'm very curious, and I've seen, I think some videos and things kind of breaking it down.
Yeah, I've heard it's a tough read, to be honest, but like one of these days I want to tackle it because I love the game associated with it. But it came out years before the game, so it's kind of like one of the ingredients of that universe.
Okay.
Speaking of on the song, I just want to shout out like the ride symbol that comes in like right at the very beginning.
Yes.
It like I can't imagine the song without that little ride symbol, because like it grounds it so much. Like all of these like heady choirs and like these crazy ideas, like it really grounds it. I think
they're all floating out there. It really does some heavy lifting.
It does, yeah. Like I love that, and it just like makes you think of like the Police on the beat, you know what I mean, like this kind of
a little bit. And I also just want to shout out like some of the wild things you learn about the world of Disco Elysium in conversations where this song is playing. Like I think that's where you first learn about this atmospheric anomaly,
the Pale.
Yeah, and the Pale, which is just a wild, really cool concept that like you're learning about. That is just, I think, one of the coolest things playing the game. Just not only are you like trying to piece together your own identity, but learning how this world is like a bunch of isolated isolas, and there's this wild thing called the Pale that you have to travel through to get from one to another, and it's really dangerous. It's very cool.
Speaking of like the Pentiment, or like of Pentiment and Disco Elysium, I think are like my favorite written games. Like I just think they are both incredible in their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
And they're perfect for readers. Like if you're in the mood for reading a book, those are two games that you can turn to for sure.
Yeah. So we will accept those as part of your Jólabókaflóðið. Those games.
Yeah, honey, you read that book that I got you. I'm going to play Disco Elysium over
Disco Elysium.
Oh, I didn't know you could count visual novels. That'd be
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Novels in the name.
Yeah.
Actually, like that does make me think too of like one more thing that I was thinking about, like listening ahead of this episode, is like all of these games that are so like reading heavy, they have such great soundtracks for reading. I mean, like obviously, like it makes sense, but like I also like I'll throw on a lot of these soundtracks, like just like the entire soundtrack when I'm reading a similar vibe book. They just lend themselves really well to. I think the thing is like they're propulsive enough to keep you interested, but they also just like reading, like you are the one pacing everything yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so these games too, like you're clicking like to advance the dialogue, like it's all self-paced. So I just like that, like that chill momentum.
There's a nice synergy there.
Yeah.
All right, I think we are heading into our last couple songs.
Then I'll introduce my second and final track. This is from the game Citizen Sleeper, composed by Amos Roddy, and this track is called Signal Haze. So the way that the Citizen Sleeper soundtrack works is when you encounter certain characters or like elements within the story, they usually have a theme associated with them, and that theme will kind of enter like the playlist of music that the game just continually plays in the background. A lot of it is like very industrial, hip hop, sci-fi, like that, like very low key, very, very listenable both in and out of the game. And so this is one of the earlier tracks that jumps into your rotation. And I think it just captures like the day-to-day life of living in like a cyberpunk hell like so well. It's got like kind of like a darkness to it with like the distorted vocals and everything, but like the hip hop beat like propels it forward and like keeps things plugging along. So many cyberpunk or like sci-fi soundtracks, they go big and bombastic, like Terminator or like Cyberpunk 2077, which are great in their own right. But this to me feels like a very like, okay, I'm living in this cyberpunk world, doing my chores. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Which in this game is like, okay, your job is to like work in the factory and like strip down ships for parts and things like that, and like work security detail on like a nightclub, like that kind of like monotonous kind of stuff. But it feels very real for that.
I really love what. So I haven't played this, but I really love what you were saying about how when you meet a character, it's like their theme then becomes added to the music that plays, like generally, because then it's like they're always kind of a part of your environment after that, and even when you're not actively with them, there's this like little reminder that that person is still there, and you can, go and I assume go and see them if you want to. But yeah, I love that it's like the music then becomes a part of the environment once you've like encountered that character. That's really cool.
Yeah, like expanding your psyche, with the world. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy that this one is following Disco Elysium. I think that's a nice kind of segue there. I had a couple thoughts about this one in terms of like context and what I might read. The first one is that it reminded me of some of my favorite cafe music from The Longest Journey, which is like a little bit of kind of like a gritty, not fully cyberpunk, but like near future where companies are doing evil things, and it's a little bit oppressive, but this cafe is kind of like your safe haven there, and this reminds me of some of the music that plays in that cafe. So I was definitely thinking like cyberpunk or like near future kind of book with this, but also there's just a really interesting tonal contrast in this song, just kind of like some of the distortion versus some softer notes and sounds that made me think of like some of the great like anti-utopian novels, because I think this music, it would highlight that dissonance between like the perfect society veneer and like what the day-to-day actually is, right? Which is a big theme in Citizen Sleeper.
Oh yeah, I was kind of thinking of like my first thought was like the Blade Runner comics, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I guess
Big
that would
time.
tie into like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep.
Yep. It makes me want to like eat ramen noodles under like a neon sign.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I listen to this song like walking around Tokyo sometimes, and it makes me feel very cool.
Yeah.
I got that like the Philip K. Dick kind of stuff, but also like a very William Gibson feeling. Like
Yes.
they call him the father of cyberpunk, but like Neuromancer and like Burning Chrome, like the original short story collection, like those are really they match very well with like this whole soundtrack, I think.
The ones I've written down are the Expanse books, which I think would totally go with this. I also read the Commonwealth Saga by Peter F. Hamilton a few years ago, and they're like the most gigantic books I've ever read. There's two of them, and each one's like 2,000 pages or something insane.
Whoa.
But they're like universe-size scope sci-fi stories, but there are quite a lot of moments in those where there's like not a huge amount of action going on, and it's just like characters having conversations, but the environments that they're in are very science fiction. So I feel like this is kind of perfect for stuff like that, where it's like more about the environment rather than like the action that is going on, and kind of soundtracking like the space that the story is taking place in. Yeah, it's cool.
A lot of it is like a lot of these books and games kind of share that like mega corporation, like society ruled by mega corporations. And that would never happen in reality, though. I mean, but if anyone hasn't played, like, the concept of Citizen Sleeper, it's really cool. Like, people like sell their souls essentially to these companies, and they are emulated in these robotic bodies to be servants and slaves. And so you are an escaped sleeper, and you wake up on this like kind of like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like this space station with like full of vagabonds and runaways, and you're just like working to survive. Meanwhile, the company is sending bounty hunters to bring you back because you're like, very valuable materials. So, like you said before, like that kind of light, airy instrumentation mixed with that like deep, like whoa, which reminds you like, okay, like I'm still being chased, even though I'm like, things seem to be going well. I got my first apartment, daddy. I still gotta look over my shoulder, for the guy hunting me.
I also really like some of the sounds on this track have like a slight echo applied to them, which I think gives it a really nice impression of like space, and as though you're kind of listening to the song in like either a large space or just space generally. I think it adds a really interesting like dimension to it, which really fits for that environment, which is really cool.
If you like that, the Citizen Sleeper 2 soundtrack has a lot more like spacey vibes like throughout the whole soundtrack. I prefer the first one just because like the instrumentation is like a lot more weird and like mechanical, but like they're both great soundtracks. Worth listening to.
Agreed. I think we're approaching the end, and we've got one more song. So what are we closing out with?
Yeah, so we are closing out with When Mother Was There by Shoji Meguro from Persona 5. Cool. Okay, so I wanted to bring this song because I knew that I wanted to bring something that I would listen to when reading a Murakami novel.
What?
So I finished Persona 5, I think in the same year that I read my first book by Haruki Murakami, which was Norwegian Wood, because that's pretty much always the first Murakami book that anyone reads. And I completely fell in love with his writing. I think this must have been like a year maybe before the pandemic, and the first couple of years of the pandemic I literally read almost all of the rest of his books, bar I think I've got maybe 2 that I haven't read yet, and I don't want to read them because then I will have read them all, so I'm saving them.
Rob, are we like living the same lives? Because I have the exact same. The only book of his I haven't read is 1Q84, because I'm like, that's the last one.
Oh my god, that one's. Oh, that was
I know
so
I love
good.
it, but I'm like,
So
I can't finish all his stuff, like for the same reason. Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember which ones I haven't read. There's one of them is the Killing Commendator.
Yep.
I haven't read that one.
It's a slow burn, but it's really weird and in a good way. But
yeah, but his books are just incredible.
yeah.
And so I think while I was in my sort of binge reading phase in the pandemic, I was listening to a lot of the Persona 5 soundtrack, because I think the connections between the two go a lot further than just the fact that they're both heavily linked with Japan. I think even though Murakami's novels are, at least from what I can remember, are entirely set in Japan, but in various different locations, I think the sound of a lot of the Persona 5 music fits really well with the content of the books, both in terms of the kind of urban quality to a lot of the music, in terms of the I could imagine walking around a big city listening to the music from Persona 5 and it feeling very fitting.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stories in Murakami's novels take place in cities. So there's that, but also his protagonists pretty much always love jazz music. It's like a thing. And there's jazz influence all over the Persona 5 soundtrack. So the two just go really well for me. And I picked this song in particular because I think it has a really nice balance of a kind of catchy modern sound without being too sort of distracting. I think I can just imagine this fitting really well with a lot of the situations that his protagonists find themselves in the book. It's just really great. And my favourite Murakami book is Colourless, Tsukuru Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage, which is one of the newer ones and one of the shorter ones, but literally if you haven't read any of his books, you could probably pick up any of them and it would be great.
Kafka on the Shore is my favorite. It's the one that made me fall in love with him.
I love the Wind Up Bird Chronicle is really good. 1Q84 is fantastic. If you read it, Matt, you need to tell me what you think.
I will. I can't put it off anymore. What I talk about when I talk about running too is great, by the way, but the his memoir. But yeah.
Well, this is a gap in my reading that I need to fix.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
You do.
I do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's great. His books kind of fall on a spectrum of there are some of them which are much more rooted in reality, which Norwegian Wood is one of it. That's much more focused on realism, and then there are other ones that incorporate a lot more of the surreal into the story. So kind of depending on your taste, you would probably choose a different book, but they're all amazingly written.
I love that there's that spectrum there, though. That's awesome.
He's the magical realism guy nowadays, but the thing I like about him is they're very surreal in a very calm and off-kilter way. So everybody that I've talked to that like other foreigners that live in Japan, we always talk about these, I call them Murakami moments, where like you stumble upon like an abandoned art display or something like that. Like I have this memory of like going to the red brick warehouse in Yokohama, and we went to the second floor of this big like bustling market, and suddenly there was nobody on the second floor, and there was this abandoned display of like a museum half torn down.
Whoa.
And I looked at the person with me, and we're like, this is such a weird, surreal moment. And she was a Murakami fan, and she goes, this feels like a Murakami book. And I'm like, it does, like, you know. But his books give that great vibe, like that, the weirdness of Tokyo and Japan in general. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you guys off there.
No. You pick the right Persona game if his protagonists like jazz as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the Persona 5 soundtrack is so great. It's about time for me to revisit it.
Yeah, it is really great. I love one of my other favourites along with this one to listen to when I'm reading is the Rain version of Beneath the Mask.
Yep.
Yes.
I just love it so much. Even the instrumental version, which I did think about bringing instead of this one. But I feel like this one's maybe slightly more interesting to like listen to if you're like wanting to just focus on listening to a piece of music. I think the instrumental version of the Rain version of Beneath the Mask is a little bit I don't know, it doesn't have much like variety in it, I guess, but for reading it's really good.
It's hypnotic.
There's like a catchiness to this version.
You could get into the flow.
This song has like this one here, the days when my mother was there. I mean, when you piece it with the backstory though, like the way it's used in the game, it is quite heartbreaking and tragic. Like it's Futaba's like palace, and like her backstory is like awful. It's horrendous, right? But when you finally break through to her and like she lets her guard down and lets you in, so it might be hard for some people to like, you know, separate that context from it, but it's a great listen either way.
Yeah, and you know, with that context, that might just change what you pair it with, right?
Very true.
Oh, very true.
Yeah.
In the game, it's like a Egyptian pyramid dungeon, which I'm like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's something I would never pair it with. But yeah. Now it's funny that you bring up Murakami, Rob, because I did not write Murakami down on the side, but he was on my mind. But I wrote down some other Japanese like contemporary authors, namely Miyako Kawakami and Sayaka Murata. I mean, there's a lot of like,
I love Sayaka Murata. She's amazing. Yeah,
there's a lot of great like modern writers who like kind of are like proteges of Murakami in some ways, like in Kawakami's case, carrying the torch. So
interestingly, I was thinking of Miyuki Miyabe.
Oh yeah. Oh man, she's fantastic.
Yeah. I thought of her for some. I was like, oh, this would kind of fit for like a Brave story.
100% Brave story, yeah. She has a great novelization of Eco too. Like
yes, she does. That's awesome.
Wait, what?
Yeah, she's great. She does a lot of video game adjacent books.
Oh no, okay, I need to read that now.
Yeah, she's really popular. My wife like loves her like ever since she was like a girl, and she's not much of a gamer, so she has like a lot of reach here.
Well. Okay, now I think this episode has achieved everything I wanted. We got to geek out about common books. We got some recommendations. We got some good music.
We need to start an RPG fan like reading club or whatever.
Yeah.
Book club.
Oh, yes.
100%. All right. Any final thoughts on the music?
It is good.
I'm ready to turn the page.
All right.
Yep.
Well, it seems like we have successfully started the book flood, and I hope everybody, you know, enjoys the end of the year and the holidays. This was a lot of fun, so thank you all as well for joining.
It was lovely to share this Jólabókaflóðið with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
And I hope at some point maybe we can come back together and share, you know, if any of our panelists today did swap books, how it went if you actually participated on December 24th. Let me know. I'm very curious. Listeners, you know, we love to hear from you. So if any of you try this or try any of the pairing, let us know. So games that made their debut on this episode. We have a lot of them, actually, which is another great thing about this episode. So that was Heaven's Vault, Digimon Story Time Stranger, Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars, Pentiment, Xuan-Yuan, Sword 7, and Disco Elysium, which that's actually kind of hard to believe.
Yeah.
All right, and coming next on Rhythm, we have Q4 2025 new music, which is always fun to look at the new music. And then, we're wrapping up the year, so we will also have an episode on Music of the Year 2025, which should be a very exciting episode. As mentioned, if you enjoyed this episode, if you have feedback, if you want to share what you did for Jólabókaflóðið, you can email us at music@rpgfan.com. If you want to email me, I am hilary@rpgfan.com. And then let's go around. How can we reach our other panelists? Let's start with you, Matt.
If you like reading and you like science fiction and short stories, that's a very specific plug, but you can read my fiction at mattwardellwrites.wordpress.com. I've got a couple collections up there.
Great. And Rob, where can we reach you?
I'm on Blue Sky, Neon Cowboy.
Excellent. And Audra.
Great name.
Yeah.
You can reach me through email at audrab@rpgfan.com.
Perfect. And in addition to Rhythm, RPG Fan has other podcasts. We've got Random Encounter and Retro Encounter. They're great listens. Random recently covered Octopath Traveler 0 and the Game Awards. That's an episode I was on. It was a lot of fun. And Retro is trying something new that I'm very eager to listen to that they did, which is a 1995 year in review. And then they also have a 2-part game journal for 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, beginning on January 1st. And please also don't hesitate to reach out to us on RPG Fan social media. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all of them, pretty much. You can also use the contact form on the website. We do have a shop page on rpgfan.com where you can find potentially holiday merch. We have some clothes. I know that the exact items have changed a little bit recently, but check it out. You might be able to find something nice there. And also, if you consider leaving a review or feedback on your podcast listening method of choice, those things help us continue to do what we do and make fun episodes like this. And now we are going to close the show with our bonus track, which I will let Matt introduce.
Thank you. So one of my favorite ambient soundtracks and one of my favorite game soundtracks in general is from the game Spiritfarer. Makes for great, relaxing reading, and you can sleep to this music, as I've done many times. So I'm bringing the track At Sea, composed by Max LL.
Great. Well, we'll close out with that, and thank you all for being here, and happy reading and listening.
Happy Jólabókaflóðið.
Happy Jólabókaflóðið.
one ground rule is we can all do a Swedish chef impression only one time this episode.
Yes.
I think that's fair.
Oh, where's Solosi? He's good with impressions.